What about Niz Isle? Niz Isle or Niz Isle? On the Tamra there. Or Niz Isle. Okay.
I can't do nothing.
So Niz Isle?
I can't even do an intro. Can't even do it. Good people, what's going on? Welcome into your.
So Niz Isle.
Shut up. To your. Whatever. It's the NXT review, but oh my! I tried to do something, and this guy, like, I try to mess him up.
That man ain't have nothing planned. He act like he had something planned. That man ain't had nothing planned. He's have to make up something ridiculous.
I had something planned, and then somebody goes, "The Tammer." This is why I never plan anything, because I know you're going to do something every time I try to plan something. Anyway, back your NXT, I guess, post-takeover review. So all of the fallout from TakeOver, which we really didn't get any.
Sort of recap, you mean?
That's all we got. All we got was recaps. We didn't get any, like, fallout. We didn't get, like, it felt like literally nobody that was on TakeOver was actually in this show. Like,
you know what? We did get that exclusive. You know, that exclusive footage from the top of the building, the surveillance footage from the top of the building. You know, the exclusive that gave us a little bit more insight. I couldn't see nothing up in that. I'm just saying, I couldn't see nothing. Like, I was like, maybe if I squint, maybe I gotta put my glasses on or something. Like, I don't know, like, what?
It's like when you get an X-ray and the doctor looks at the X-ray. It's like, oh, it's right here, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see it. That's what we got. But anyway, we'll get to that. I'm gonna try to make this not super long because there wasn't really I'm not gonna go over all of the recaps really. I mean, unless there was a post-match interview for them, then we'll talk about that a little bit. But we already did the review for TakeOver. Most of you have already probably watched it, so there's no point in really talking about the outcomes anyway. We already know what happened, but we got Bianca Belair versus Deonna Purrazzo, which I was really excited about. Bianca, I guess, is back from injury. And on paper, this is the type of match that, you know, you would want in any women's division in any company. I mean, these two are really good. But I didn't like this match. I felt like, and I feel like we've been talking about this for a while now, a couple weeks, where to me it felt like they intentionally made Deonna Purrazzo look weak just to make Bianca Belair look stronger, which I don't think you needed to do. These two are both really good. You could have had a really good competitive equal match and still had Deonna look good, or and still had Bianca look good and not have Deonna have to look a lot weaker than she is. Just personally, that's how I felt about it. But again, taking nothing away from Bianca, she is really good. But WWE always does that, where they overcompensate for somebody by making someone else look weak. It's just, I don't think it's not good for the other person in general, you know? But it was an okay match. They didn't really feel like they had great chemistry to me either. There was a lot of spots where it looked kind of shaky or, you know, just wasn't done right. So I don't really know what was going on there. But DJ?
Yeah, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was good. I was excited for these two to go at it, simply because they did a good job of promoting Deonna Purrazzo, and kind of trying to build her up as like a viable opponent for Bianca Belair, who obviously is a little bit more well known in the NXT land. But I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Like you said, I think they could have given them a little bit more time. I think, and it could have been a little bit more even. I think I definitely agree when you say It felt like they kind of were just pushing Bianca Belair, pushing Bianca Belair, pushing Bianca Belair, which is fine. I mean, it's about dang on time, but that's fine. But at the same time, I think this would have been a good match to kind of be even to show off Deonna Purrazzo as well, especially after Takeover. These are the matches no one really remembers anyway. So this would have been a good one to kind of be the one that people remember.
Yeah, and the other thing was they kept talking about how Deonna Purrazzo has so much more experience over Bianca Belair, and I'm like, you're literally not showing that at all. You're saying that, but then you're making her go out there and look as weak as possible. It didn't add up to me logically. But moving on, we did have an EC3 Dream recap and post match interview. I liked it. It was all right, anytime you have EC3 do an interview or promo, it's always good. They did ask him, for whatever reason, he was the only one they asked about the attack on Aleister Black. I'm like, there was other people out there that you could have asked. And they're like, no. They're like, do you know who it was? Did you see? And I guess, I don't know. He said Lars Sullivan. They are going way too deep into this who attacked Aleister Black thing. Like, this is turning into like freaking CSI WWE right now, and it doesn't need to go that far. Stop it. Just stop it. DJ, thoughts on the recap or the interview?
I like both the interviews. I thought, see, to me, the Velveteen Dream interview was weird.
Yeah.
Simply because he said something about tuning in on Wednesday. And I'm like, but it's Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and I'm watching the show. I mean, I didn't watch it on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, but I mean, I understand what he's saying. But I'm like, this probably is something that's going to be solved next week. Because this was an after the match promo, and I don't know if she didn't know what he was saying and they just didn't reshoot this or what. But I don't know how this got in there because it didn't make any sense because nothing else happened later. So like there was no kind of end to this. Like he was like talking about how, well, you can just find out what everybody else does on NXT or whatever. And I'm like, well, it's NXT.
And it wasn't like they tried to pull it off like, oh, it was a live backstage interview where he's talking about next week. No, we knew this was a post-match interview from TakeOver. Like, I agree that didn't make any sense at all. It was like, wait, what?
Now, I did like EC3's. I liked his kind of rebuttal to losing. I thought that was good because different people have different, based on your character, different rebuttals to losing. I thought it was a unique kind of answer he had. Things don't stop until I win type thing. That kind of explaining the top 1% type thing too. So I like it. I definitely thought it was good. I hope they continue with this. Looks like EC3 is going to continue all his feuds he's ever had in ever that he's lost, according to him. So, but I liked it though. I thought it was good.
Yeah. Then we had a recap of the NXT Tag Team Championship match and the North American Championship match, since it was both Undisputed Era. We had a post-match interview with the new North American champion, King Ricochet, where Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong come up and kind of try to cause some trouble. And luckily, Pete Dunne comes up to interfere and kind of, sorry, my notes are here and I realized that was too high. To kind of interfere and kind of, and I didn't realize it was that high and then I did. They kind of come to he comes to interfere. Ricochet says,
what does he come to do?
I hate you so much. Ricochet says, thanks, mate. Pete replies, we're not mates, but you are holding gold that I want. And my thought throughout this whole thing was, where's the UK title at, though? Like he came in from the outside and he ain't got the UK title. I'm like, you still the champion. Where that though? Like, are we doing a title for title match? If we're doing that, you need to find the title. Just saying. Um, but is it me? Like, I get that Pete Dunne has had this like ongoing feud with the Undisputed Era for a while. I get that, but every time they do this, it's always Pete Dunne and whoever the Undisputed Era is having issue with, and they always put him in a tag team match every time. They did this a few months ago. I forgot who it was that they put Pete Dunne in a tag team match against the Undisputed Era with.
It was it Roddy before he turned?
Oh yeah. They keep doing that, and I'm like, why? I mean, I get it. They're kind of keeping that in the back of your mind. I don't know. But yeah, that was the only thing that kind of confused me. Was like, where's your title though? Like, did you leave it in the car? Like, did you bring it in and then you forgot something in the car, so you had to go back out? Is that what it was? Because you ain't had it. It went around his waist. It went around his shoulder. Like, DJ.
I thought it was interesting. It was weird because one of those other weird moments that I may have looked too much into or something, but it was weird because they were like, "Is the what was I don't know what the tagline was, but it was like, is the Undisputed Era still undisputed or whatever?" And then they didn't respond, or Adam Cole didn't respond at all to losing the title, and I'm like, wasn't that the point of what this was supposed to be? That's what you told me in the teaser. You didn't answer it when you came back. But anyway, I liked it though. Sets up a good tag team match. I'm excited. I mean, they got all the gold, all of it, like all the gold in this tag team match, like every single piece of it ever, right now. But I like it. I'm excited for the match. I do wonder what Adam Cole's going to say, though. You kind of expect him to respond in some way, but guess not.
Then we move on to surveillance footage from the attack on Alice Black. First of all, okay, WWE is a multi-billion-dollar company. They have a state-of-the-art performance center, and they just happen to have the worst surveillance cameras I have ever seen.
Hey! This was you blame Full Sail for this one. This one WWE property. This was Full Sail. You blame Full Sail, which I mean they should have a bunch of money too. I mean all that tuition we'll be paying. I'm just saying.
True. Either way, like these was the worst cameras I have ever seen in my life. Like, bruh, you couldn't tell nothing, and they're like, we were able to enhance the image, and like they didn't enhance that at all. What?
I was laughing at the way you said that because that's exactly how they said it. I'm sitting there like, what enhancement y'all do? Because I can't see nothing.
It took you 7 days to do that? Like, bruh, like you zoomed in. That's all you did. Like, you didn't enhance it at all. You went on.
You changed the angle on me. That was about it. Like,
you blew it up a little bit. Like that was. They're like, it looks like Nikki Cross, and I'm like, it looks like nothing. that could have been a poll. Like, UJ.
Besides the weird footage and them being really over the top about it, I kind of like it in some sort of weird way because it keeps Aleister Black in the back of your mind. And I think, and I don't know if he's injured. I'm just assuming, but if he is, it keeps him in the back of your mind so you don't forget him. And at the same time, it kind of keeps that storyline going. And I think sometimes when people get injured, you kind of forget about storylines and forget about what's going on with them. So I like it for whatever reason. It is kind of goofy at times, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. Then we had a Zach Gibson video package, similar to the one that they had during the UK tournament, but a little bit different. I like it. Definitely. This is one thing that I do like about NXT, and we've talked about this in the past, where they do video packages like that to kind of introduce you to a new superstar coming from the indies or whoever. It's not like the main roster where they just throw somebody out there and they're like this person, and they're like, I don't know who this is. Who is it? You kind of can get an idea of who Zach Gibson is, where he comes from. He ain't got to do that to Jack Gallagher. I saw Jack in there and he was hurting that. I was like, bro, you ain't got to do that to my boy. But definitely kind of, at least gives you an idea of who's challenging for the UK title if you don't know. DJ?
Yeah, I think it's good, especially for those people who didn't watch the UK tournament, didn't have time, whatever it may be. It definitely. I think people blow me up about Vault now because I sent that post to y'all. But anyway, I thought it definitely introduced you to Zach Gibson, which is good. I think that's a good thing. I think for those people who didn't watch the UK tournament, or maybe you're like just tuning in the NXT for the first time, and you're like, oh, okay, title match, all right. Who's this guy? So it kind of introduced you to him a little bit, especially if you don't know. I like that. I thought it was good. It was very similar to his one in the UK tournament. I like his little moniker though. What was it? Liverpool's number one. I like that. I think I like that. Yeah. Even though I don't like him, I like that.
I like it. He's a good guy. Well, I mean, he's not a good guy because he tries to hurt people, but he's a good guy. Then we had the NXT Women's Championship match recap. I still call BS. And Shayna Baszler's post-match interview with the rest of the Four Horsewomen by her side. I did notice, although, that Ronda was the only one not wearing Shayna's T-shirt. So I'm not saying anything specific, but heel turn. No, probably not.
Who, Ronda heel turn or Shayna heel turn on?
Ronda heel turn on Shayna because she ain't wearing the shirt. She ain't being supportive. I probably looked way too into that. I did. But kind of similar to what EC3 said, not really. Sort of. Shayna says that Kairi Sane did not beat her. She lost. And I was like, that is the same thing.
I thought the same thing. I liked it, but I was like, hold up. I don't think you saying that properly. But I like it though. Like I was like, I mean, she said it with the confidence, so I was cool. I was like, all right, whatever.
Like that's like the Patriots playing the Browns and losing to the Browns and me like, they didn't beat us, we lost. And I'm like, the same thing. If somebody beats you, you lost. If you lost, somebody beat you. Like, I liked what I did, but like, bruh. You have any other thoughts on that? Because
I think she meant you didn't beat me, I beat myself. I think is what she was trying to say, but she said I lost, which, like you said, is the same thing. But it was funny though. I liked it. I liked her trying to basically put the blame on herself and not give any credit to Kairi Sane. That's what I liked the most about it.
Yeah, and I think that's what she was trying to do, kind of put the blame on herself rather than giving credit to Kairi Sane. But it still kind of came off as like, wait, what? But moving on, we had the NXT. I keep wanting to say NXT for the United Kingdom, but I mean, I guess technically it is the NXT United Kingdom Championship. I don't know. And the NXT show, the UK, it's coming soon. They said it again. It's been like the fifth week that it's been coming soon. So like, where that? Can we get like a date? Can you put like a date under there, like coming soon, and date? Like at least a month. Like at least give us that, just a month, and I'll be happy. We got Zach Gibson versus Pete Dunne. I like this match. I did. I don't care what anyone says. I thought this match was awesome. I think they worked really well together. Um, Similar styles, which I liked. You know, both kind of brawlers, both kind of used the sort of joint manipulation to their advantage to kind of get their different submissions and things like that. Um, I still think it's a huge mistake from WWE, not from them cutting this takeover, because I thought this was a really good match. Obviously, I knew Zach Gibson wasn't going to win, but I thought it was a really good match. I actually liked the end where um, they used the mouth guard. You know, Pete Dunne's mouth guard comes out, and they kind of use that in the match to kind of continue the story there. That was a good touch. Um, but the only thing that kind of I'm wondering who is actually eventually going to take the title from Pete Dunne. I mean, we went from Tyler Bate to Pete Dunne, and now Pete Dunne has had the belt for over a year, I think now, at least a year. And it's like, who's gonna finally take it from him? DJ?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's there yet either. It doesn't feel like anybody's like right there. Like we've seen people, we've seen people kind of challenge for it, but no one's really like a true contender yet. And I don't think it'll change hands until NXT UK stops coming soon and actually comes. So I think that's when it'll change hands. I could see. I had somebody in mind that I maybe Trent Seven if he turns heel, possibly. That's about it for me. But the match is good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good match. I think they worked pretty well together. Did feel kind of slow at times. There was some, especially at the beginning, in the early goings, it was kind of slow. But overall, it was a good match. I love the finish. I thought the finish was good. It was I like I like the spot with the mouthpiece when the mouthpiece came out and he's gonna throw it. And Vito was like, "Don't touch my mouthpiece." I thought that was funny. And then the rope break with the teeth, with Pete Dunne's teeth. That was interesting. Um, I I feel like he worked harder, not smarter, though. I mean,
That confused me though, because like he already had his arm around the rope and then he bit it. I'm like, you didn't need to do that. Like
he just
you
like to use his teeth every day. You know this.
like
you know
you had the rope break. You ain't need to do that. Like
this. But I am glad that Pete Dunne retained. Like you said, I have no idea who's gonna take it from him because I think back when Tyler Bate won it, we were like, when's Pete Dunne gonna win it? Like I think he was always at least in the back of our minds, like, okay, the next guy in line is Pete Dunne. So like now it's kind of like who in line? So.
well, that's because in the final where we expected him to win the title in the
Yeah,
tournament period. Like
true.
he was the one the whole time. We're like, oh, it's gonna be him. It's gonna be him. And then they switched it and they did Tyler Bate. But like, there's nobody like that now, where it's like, oh, he's gonna win it. He's gonna win it. Like Tyler Bate isn't even in the picture to like get a return match or like to get another shot. Like Trent Seven isn't there. Uh, Wolfgang was there for a little bit. But they're not consistently pushing anybody towards the title. And then they're like, oh, he's been the champion for a year. No one's been able to defeat him. And I'm like, who's really challenged him though? Like honestly, who has been pushed to challenge him? Like it's turning. I love Pete Dunne, and I hate to compare him to Lesnar, but it's been like Lesnar, where like you can't lose the title if there's nobody to challenge you for the title, or if you're not, it just doesn't make sense. I just want to see him I want to see somebody in that title picture, um, to actually make that title, big and something worth, challenging for and worth, putting time and effort into and worth fans caring about. Because I mean, I like the title and I was excited about it, but it's like, you know, you gotta have challengers. But
Well, I think too, it's It's exciting because it's exciting when you see it because it's rarely featured.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's really no place for it to like anything to grow on it. Like there's no place there's no NXT UK yet. So there's no like place for challengers to be formed. And I think that's the issue too. The difference between the UK title and the Universal title, at least on Raw, they're still, finding number one contenders and there's still people fighting for the title. It feels like with the UK title, challengers just kind of come up or it's just kind of random, I guess.
Yeah, and like at least with the Universal title, there are challengers. There's people, doing promos on Brock Lesnar every week. At least you're not going to see Brock Lesnar all the time, but occasionally you'll see Paul Heyman coming out and as a representative for Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. But there's also no platform for anyone to fight to get a chance at the UK title either. So I think that's where a lot of the blame comes from.
And I don't think that's an excuse. I think they could use NXT for that until the new show starts. There's no excuse for not starting it now,
Yeah.
But anyway, that was your NXT review, your post takeover review. Kind of a weak show. In ring wise, I thought some of the interviews were pretty good. But I'm definitely excited for next week. See what we got going. We have a couple matches next week. We got the tag team match. We got Pete Dunne and Ricochet versus Undisputed Era. So that should be a good match. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more kind of fallout from Takeover. Hopefully we'll see more of the people that were actually on Takeover at the show, not just post-match interviews from the show. But be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're not going to skip Impact this week or forget about it. Because let's be honest, we just forgot about it last week. We did. So we'll have Impact hopefully tomorrow night. And we will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh, yeah.